Wait,
What?
so ice cream, this is like kind of pod crossover. I became like a little bit of a guy from Maine right there, weirdly. But I bought the Ninja Creamy, okay? Did I tell you that?
Talk about sponsored content.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I bought the bleep bleep ice cream maker, and I make protein ice cream that's like 400 calories per pint. Delicious. It's amazing. It's a life-changing, it's the best thing
this
I've
is
ever
going to
done.
become, forget Bravo, this is going to become my TLC show. Like, my husband bought an ice cream maker and it's ruining my life. It's like the loudest.
I thought it was going to be this big.
Is that Noah making ice cream, or is he just breathing again?
Basically. And I'm like,
when it's I'm like,
it's like literally bigger than this like space heater you have in the studio. It massive.
Looks and sounds like an outboard motor.
It's awful.
This big, and it's like.
And then he's like, "Oh, I made it with
4.5
protein
minutes.
powder." I'm like, "It tastes like trash."
No,
it's like
really good.
It's not good.
It's incredible.
As someone who did Weight Watchers for like 20 years and used to drink those like dumb little shakes, and then I would put like fat-free like Cool Whip on it, and then tell myself it was ice cream. I'm like, it tastes worse than that.
No, it's similar to that. I would say.
No.
Similar.
What was that? When we were watching Top Chef, and she was like, singularly.
She's like singularly. Well, let's dip into Top Chef real quick because I want to talk some shit about Padma.
Wait, but also now that I've heard her say singularly, I'm like, that's a nice name for a girl.
Well, it's like it
Singularly.
is kind of a beautiful name. Singularly Savage.
Singularly.
That sounds like a reality show about
How
us.
do you say the actual word? Because now I don't remember.
Singularly.
What is it?
Singularly. So,
Let's have a segment on the pod.
Top Chef guy, Mike?
Let's have a segment on the pod where you just try to pronounce words correctly.
Singularly.
Singularly.
Wait, do you
Singularly.
Yeah, see?
Singularly. That's like when I looked up how to say Maldives, and it was like
Maldives.
No, it's like Maldives. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yes.
Jane Wolfson, shout out, and I used to play this American Girl computer game. You know, with like a CD-ROM, and it was like early AI, and you could tell the characters what to say, but it was like American Girl dolls, and so then we would tell them like I'm going to murder you, Catherine. And then we found someone on TikTok who like still has the game and makes these videos. They're so funny. It's literally like we were just talking about how
She would also build a pool on The Sims and not put a ladder and watch them drown.
just watch them die.
She's
Yeah,
a crazy person.
we did that a lot.
It's like, what do girls do when they're not at sports practice? They're like killing The Sims?
Yeah, we were like 11. We would be like, isn't it so funny you can build like a beautiful in-ground pool and then just not put a ladder? And then they're just like, until they get tired and die.
That act out is my life that we just did. That was the best thing I've ever seen.
Have you ever played The Sims?
Yeah.
Oh. Did you ever play American Girl doll CD-ROMs?
No, I remember playing a game called Myst on a CD-ROM. Very boring.
What's Mist?
You would just kind of walk around, like
In the
look
mist?
there's nobody there. It's a lot of mist.
I remember my
We played
brother.
Doom.
Yeah, my brother had Doom, which
tight.
was scary.
It was scary as hell.
Like even on like those old school computers, it was scary.
Yeah.
And there's always like you were like facing the camera. Oh, sorry. And then like someone was like here in your periphery.
Mm-hmm.
So like how are you supposed to see that?
Yeah. Turn your head.
You can't though.
So Top Chef.
That's a good segue into Top Chef.
Padma left Top Chef to go do stand-up.
Pursue comedy.
Do you know this?
Yeah, I do.
So then on her Instagram, she's like, I am so excited to show you guys what I've been working on. And I'm like, we're going to get a stand-up clip here. For weeks I'm following. And then she's like, my new lingerie line. And it's a fantastic video of her boobs and butt. And I'm like, where's the stand-up?
You're like, hilarious.
yeah, I'm like, my favorite comic. But I actually don't like the show anymore, or as much as I did with Padma on it, weirdly.
Oh, see, I think Kristen Kish is doing a really good job.
Oh.
I think she is because
Boring.
she's not boring. I think that the season's a little boring, but
Because you need the yin and yang of Padma being way too serious and Tom being like, all right, let's calm down. That's what I see the...
Oh, I didn't see that dynamic at all.
What do you see? Well, what am I, just smarter than you? I mean, what do you see?
I'm smarter
I'm
than
smarter
you.
than you.
I don't know. I don't really miss Padma, except obviously she was good at the job, but I'm like, I think that the show is just like a little boring because it's a very specific formula.
Well, with Padma, I didn't feel bored, is what I'm saying.
I disagree because you and I
felt
watched.
bored.
No, you and I watched last year, and it was her last season, and
yeah.
you were bored.
Yeah.
So it's just like like during the pandemic when we watched like so many episodes of Chopped.
Yeah.
And you're like, why am I still watching this? But you like can't turn it off. But it is, if you watch 600 episodes of Chopped, you will eventually be bored.
Do you think anybody came out of the pandemic and was like, I learned Italian?
Yes.
We were like, I went back and watched Survivor from the beginning.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Survivor. Wait,
That's when I realized my old boss's whole personality was just based
Survivor?
on Jeff Prost.
What was it?
Jeff Probst.
That's a word for my new segment. Can Noah pronounce this word?
Probst for a person with my speech
Disability?
challenge, which I was told by a speech therapist I aspirate my S's. It's not a lisp.
It's a tough disease to have. If you have it.
Probst is impossible.
Probst?
A BST? It's impossible.
Yeah.
What's your imperfection over there, lady?
Still looking for one.
Yeah.
Shout out for the comment.
I'll create a poll. Be like, what do you think my biggest flaw is?
Yeah. No. I'll be like, don't tell me.
Oh my God. Honestly, it would devastate me.
Yeah. Well.
But like, what are you gonna do? Honestly, I feel like now, being 32 and looking the way I do, I'm like, what? Lay it on me. What do you think? I'm annoying?
A little arrogant, maybe.
Arrogant.
Who do you think's more arrogant?
No
me or
one's
you?
ever told me I'm arrogant.
Who's more arrogant, me or you?
Probably me. Probably me.
Really? I feel like I'm insanely arrogant, but also very low self-esteem.
Yes.
It's a torture
Yes.
existence.
I feel like you and I actually, this is like what bonded us together. Because it's like you come in and we're both like these huge, like nightmare blimps, but on the inside, there's just like just extreme insecurity. We're like, hey, and then you're like, are you okay? And you're like, not really.
My goal for today's reunion, because I'm going to my Princeton reunion where I went to college.
Wait, no,
Princeton.
where'd you go to school?
Princeton, the #1 school in the world.
And
I made this-
at Princeton, did you
I
learn
made
how
my own
to
T-shirt.
Did you learn how to Photoshop there?
Yeah, it's not flawless because I left this random net floating here.
And you cut off his entire arm.
Oh yeah, that's true. It was like 4 sec guy left.
You finally got Dylan.
But
They call Princeton the Harvard of New Jersey.
yeah,
That's true.
I sometimes go into these like, what was I gonna say?
You just wanted to bring up Princeton so bad
No,
that you
no,
didn't even
no,
have
no.
a thought. You were just
No,
like,
'cause
Princeton!
No, that's how we do it. Did you guys say Princeton over here?
I'm like, no one mentioned Princeton. You're like, Princeton?
I played basketball there. Did anybody mention that?
Everyone's like, are you sure you didn't play football?
Yeah,
That's the meanest thing people say to you.
that is a mean thing. They're like, what were you, an offensive lineman? I was like, I was a guard one year. I played. They're like, on the offensive line. I'm like, no, basketball court.
My best roast was Shane Torres at a softball game. I was wearing shorts. He goes, "You have the legs of a much fitter man." And it was the all-time greatest roast.
So, oh yeah, what I was gonna say is that, being arrogant. Sometimes I get into these at these reunions. I forgot my thought now.
Aww.
Do you want
Way to go, Princeton.
Do you want to have it ready for the next one?
Maybe. Wait, where are we time wise? Real quick.
Over
For like an hour. Yeah.
just over an
No,
hour.
we're just gonna do one episode and split it up. I don't know if I
Oh.
told you that. I'm an idiot.
You didn't.
I'm sorry.
That's why I kept waving. I was like,
Oh,
just so
I'm
you know,
so
here's
sorry.
your time.
No, we're just gonna do one episode and do part 1, part 2.
Even better. All right, well, we're at just over an hour.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. So we got 30 minutes or 45 or however you want to do.
All right.
Yeah.
What was I just going to say to you?
I don't know. I'm totally brain dead now.
I do feel like that is much more accurate about Princeton people than it is about Harvard people.
Yeah.
Like someone could just like mention the word orange. You're like, Princeton! Orange at Princeton! I'm like, oh, no one said Princeton. No one's talking about Princeton. Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
I did a show down there
See what I'm saying?
a month ago. And every year, when I used to go back and I was Dylan's sprightly age, I did this show. I didn't even have a light.
Isn't it crazy that you did a show at Princeton for people younger than Dylan and you thought that you were relatable?
But when I was 24, it was
You were like,
just-
you know when your kids are up too late? They're like, we're 19.
We are up too late.
They're like, we have a book report due.
they're so responsible. And they're also like, because of the cameras, I would say, because everybody has a camera phone, they're like,
Wait, the camera's in their phone?
yeah, well, some of them. Not my Nokia, but I'd
Literally,
kill for Nokia.
I'm telling you, you should do we should do a new side segment in addition to can Noah pronounce it?
Shit.
It's like Noah's tech corner. He's like,
I've gotten so much better.
He's like, wait, have you guys heard about DVR? And you're like, some of us have. Yes, some of
Welcome
us.
to my new unboxing video. Check out this Palm Pilot.
You know what's depressing though about
Like, some of them have cameras in their phones. Like, what?
You're not hearing my point because,
Okay.
as usual, you're not listening or thinking. You're just sitting there like a cactus, like a potted plant. So my
I'm
point
kind of
is
like a
that
cactus.
I feel like back in our day, you didn't have a camera phone, so you were just out there being a complete a-hole.
Thank God.
When you were 19, 20, 21. These kids are so, I think, worried about the backlash because everything's recorded. It's a surveillance state. That I get up there at 38 and I do a joke about shaving my nuts, which is part of my A act now. And they kind of look around first and are like, ugh, old guy talking about his nuts. Is this okay? And then I have to like hammer them with jokes before they're like, oh, it's okay. And they typically, but my point is I used to crush when I was young. And now I'm like, they think I'm very weird. I do okay. But then the other comics do much better that I bring.
Interesting.
But I really take that bullet. I talk about like, okay, it's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. But
And you think that's due to the phones and
I think they're more self-conscious because they're being recorded and they're recording each other themselves. And
I do think that if all of high school and college was just like that, anyone could take a picture of you at any time, and then not just that, but like there's filters, right? So like what you're putting out there is like maybe not. It's like a distorted version of reality. And so I think it is like affecting people's, not just kids, but I think it's affecting everyone's sort of like level of self-consciousness. And even though like we all know that someone could be like taking a video or a picture, it's like, it's making us both like more open and also like way more closed off. But it's like,
yeah, but I think people look better because they're like camera ready almost.
Really? I don't think so.
You don't think so? Young people?
Young people look terrible. I mean, the kids, like the high school kids I see walking around our building, I'm like, are you okay?
Well,
you're like
our building has some real gems.
No, but it's like you're in like pajamas and then like platform Crocs and like a bra. I'm like, what's happening? Are you going to school?
My bit about it is that Gen Z dresses like they're child soldiers. It's always like a Tony Kukoc jersey and like
Yeah.
nothing. Anything? Anybody out there, Dylan? Tony Kukoc jersey, tuxedo pants. Sound off in the comments about that one. Oh my god! Wait, I told the joke that I said on air on the ride down to that show.
Yeah.
To the car full of comics,
And no one laughed.
and it bombed so hard, and then they just made fun of me for 30 minutes about it. You know my kegs and legs joke. Have I told you the story, Mike?
No, but I'm just thinking about how many of these trips that I haven't been on.
I invited you.
I know.
You bitch. And we're doing a show. Let's plug our show. July 28th, Sunday. You're on it, Mike.
Sure.
Should we throw Dylan on it?
Am I?
Let him do 5. Yeah, you're on it. You're middling.
Hell yeah.
You're middling for me, motherfucker. You're doing whatever you want, and I'm doing whatever I want. It's a very loose show. Whatever.
Me and him are gonna have to duck because that their room is 6'3".
Small room.
Oh.
The ceiling is
John and Peters.
Yeah, the ceiling is so small that I can't stand up on that stage.
Are you going to
So
sit on a stool?
You have to either sit or just like spread your legs.
Yeah, that's how we do comedy. We lay back, spread them,
You do horse pose.
spread your legs, and
When
fly.
I go to my like bar workout class, there's like one awful squat position called horse pose, which
Yeah.
I don't like because I don't like horses.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to get low.
Why do women think that you should go do 1,000 squats in an hour instead of just like lifting weights?
Why do you do anything that you do? Don't group me with other women.
Wait, so that's true. That was bad of me. So this joke that I did on air, okay? I'm a broadcaster, Dylan. People don't know this about me. I'm on television.
And I'm sorry, where'd you go to college? Where'd you start your broadcasting career?
Princeton University, 2.7 GPA,
Yikes.
But
38% three-point shooter. yeah, good three-point shooter. So
Yikes. Did they add your 3-point shooting into your GPA?
yeah, they just put that down the paper.
They were like, just add a couple.
Yeah, 0.37. That's fine.
How'd you get a 2.7.
I did not try or do work.
Yikes.
Well, I think what she meant was, how did you make it all the way up to a 2.7?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
heard that wrong.
I
Is
was.
this how you introduce yourself, by the way? Welcome to ESPN. I'm Princeton's Noah Savage.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
my partner does that. My partner will be like, and I'm here with Princeton sharpshooter Noah Savage.
He always says that, yeah.
Or like, sometimes they call me a big man, and I'm kind of like, I don't really play like big man. I get a little particular. They call me legend. So I'm on air. So here's the story, okay?
No one's ever called
So
me
this coach compared this one player on his team in our pregame interviews, his legs to kegs, okay? So then we're on the air. This guy, John Meter-Perel, who I love working with because he really is a good straight man, and he sets it up well. He is like, well, Coach Jones compared his legs to kegs. Noah, did they ever compare your legs to kegs when you were playing? And I was like, no.
Kegs of beer or kegs
of beer. Like they were like his legs were so big they looked like kegs. They were like giant, strong thighs.
Oh, I thought it was like a keg of like like ammunition. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Do you think the punchline's going to work now, Mike, that she hopped in right then? so I, like literally 3 more words to the punchline, and you're like, wait, what? What's a keg?
Yeah,
So-
of all the places to poke holes in this bit, it's not, did you mean a keg of gunpowder or a keg of beer?
Yeah.
But now
Like barrels, like barrel chests, like big. Well, I don't understand how you're confused about this.
because if you think about a keg, like how could you? That's not a leg.
If you have legs this big, 2 keg legs. So my joke, Dylan, was I go, no, but I used to use my legs to get near the kegs in college. And my partner laughed so hard on television. So I tell that story in the car. And this is about the reaction it got. So then for like an hour, they were like, wait, tell us that legs and keg story again. That was fucking hilarious. And I was like, it is funny.
There's nothing worse than bombing around comics in a car.
In a car, yes.
You're just gonna eat it for the next however long that trip is.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
That reminds me of when we went to the beach once, and one of our friends was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go for a run," and I was like, "I'm gonna go for a beer run," and then everyone laughed so hard that I had to leave. I was like, "That's the best joke of the day." I was like, "Everyone really liked that one," and I'm out.
That's
Just
not
George Costanza.
Exactly. I was like, I gotta fly home. I'm like, I gotta get out of this vacation.
I George Costanza left hot, and that's how I got my high school girlfriend. Like every time I talked to her, if it was going well, I was like, I gotta go. And I had a strategy, and I had this girl coaching me. She's like, "You're doing great."
That's Costanza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but I did it in real life.
Excellent. Good job.
Thank
Noah.
you.
And this is why Top Chef is no longer good.
Yeah. Someone's jealous. You're over here having heterosexual relationships.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been in homosexual relationships, so I just wanted to be clear.
As you mentioned. Okay.
You always like to try to get that into every conversation.
I sure do. I'm like, any minute.
You should be saying I'm bi.
That's your
Like
Princeton.
Yeah. Do you think? Are you feeling bi?
I'm feeling like, what are you talking about?
All right, early joke I used to do open mic style. I say, yeah, a lot of these girls in New York are bisexual. Yeah, they'll have sex with you if you buy them something.
No.
Is this thing on? Hello.
No.
I said that out loud into a microphone.
Yikes.
Yikes.
I love that. I love it so much.
Kill with
Yikes.
Dylan.
Yeah, well,
Oh boy.
because he can't believe that someone would like say that sentence out loud.
Yep.
I'm more like trisexual. I'd love to try it once.
That's right.
Let me see if I wrote anything else down we can talk about.
What do you think about Top Chef? We didn't. Let's go back to that.
So-
Why do you think it's good or bad anymore? You still
Thank
like
you.
it. I still like it.
Thank you, producer.
I think that it's. I liked it better when people weren't so conscious about what they were going to say on TV. Back when they were like cheating on their spouses on the show and getting in fights, and Marcel was a loser. Like I love those days, but
Yeah.
now everyone's just like trying to make an image for themselves and run
Yeah.
a brand. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, cool, man, make the sausage and shut up.
Yeah. I think that one of the reasons it's lasted so long is that it is a good structure for a show, but it has become a little bit boring. And like
The location is boring this season.
the people are like professionals, like
Where
they're
are they, in Wisconsin?
yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you're gonna make cheese. Like, I find the location very boring, and the Native American challenge, where they were like, we didn't have butter or flour, or so you had like no good ingredients. So like, make something out of beet
I made you
Beetroots.
deconstructed sand.
Yeah. You're like, what
Just
can
a
we eat?
glass
Acorns?
bottle.
Like, this sucks.
I don't know. I guess I just think like because I've watched it since the beginning, like I think some of the novelty has worn off. There's only so many challenges you can do. Obviously, we can't try the food, so we're just like trusting people to describe it to us. And then like even like the quick fire or whatever, it's like, 20 minutes to make this like complicated thing.
Yeah.
You're not even like, we live in a world of like TikTok videos that like the joke is in less than 4 seconds. We're so impatient for like what it is that like we can't even understand the time pressure of like what it means to make like gnocchi in 20 minutes. It's like, okay, so make it or don't. Like I feel
So
like the
changed.
stakes are off. I don't know. I just feel like the stakes are gone.
I think once they switch their seltzer water from San Pellegrino to Niagara Falls water or whatever.
Saratoga.
Yeah, Saratoga
I'm like,
Springs.
get out of here. No one's ordering a Saratoga.
Also, they used to do challenges sponsored by TGI Fridays.
Right.
Like, that was hilarious because watching them be like, love TGI, like, you knew they didn't.
Right.
And they don't respect it. And I think
Yeah.
that we've lost a little bit of our way by making it too polished.
It's very polished and it's very fine dining focused now.
Yeah.
And I think like that has become a thing, but like I don't know if it's that interesting. Like I don't know if it's like, oh, like you were saying, like the deconstructed whatever with like a sprig of edible flower, and it's like, okay, it's cool, but like one of the challenges this season was chaos challenge, and
That
it
was
was
the worst.
nothing. It was
That
just
was the
like,
worst.
what do you
It
mean
was-
chaos? Like bad? Like chaos is not a word that you use to describe something that was good.
Yeah, eating wise. So like,
So-
is it chaotic enough? Someone's like, I made a lasagna with licorice. They're like, that's chaotic. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, what does that even mean?
I just feel like some of the challenges are a little like off, and I feel like some of the, like you're saying, it's like a lot of them are just like, I want to be a celebrity chef, so like,
But besides
I'm not going
being-
to act a fool on
Right.
this like huge.
Yeah, no one's taking risks.
Not
Besides
really.
being hot,
Personality risks, which is important for a reality show.
Right.
But what is Padma? Besides being
You're obsessed with Padma.
hot, she's my favorite comedian. So how can I how can I not be obsessed with Padma? But what did she bring to the table that's missing? Because I feel like it's significantly worse. But I'm like,
I don't think
never
so. I
really
think-
liked her that
I
much.
think it's just coinciding with, like, I mean, I don't even. What season is it?
39, like
It's-
26.
we've watched a lot of seasons. It's
Yeah.
like, and like the difference, I think, because I also have been watching this season of Survivor, which you kind of like fell off.
dipping in and out of. Oh, they had a really good Applebee's moment last
Oh, it was
episode.
awesome.
Speaking of TGI Fridays, like restaurants, they had the big reward was, you get to win and go eat. You're starving and eat all this Applebee's food. And the one woman was like, every Wednesday, I go to Applebee's with my daughter and we get the bourbon grilled burger. And she starts crying. And this dude who absolutely hates her is like, he wins the challenge. And then she's like, please take me to Applebee's, please. She's crying and sobbing.
And then he doesn't, and she goes,
He takes, he takes 3 other people, and she yells at him, and I'm just pissed off. And she's literally openly.
"It's like I'm so hungry." It's incredible. That was great TV.
It was great TV. And honestly, if you're starving and you get an Applebee's platter of appetizers
With like mozzarella sticks,
oh yeah, if you haven't eaten for like 3 weeks,
spinach dip.
amazing. I like all those restaurants.
Of course you do, Noah.
App-
We go to Applebee's every Valentine's Day. That's our
Really?
thing.
Shut up.
Yeah, we go to Applebee's and go see a movie.
That's cute.
Yeah,
It's amazing. She doesn't do anything for me anymore.
Yeah, she had 2 of your babies. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
Do you do anything for me for Valentine's?
Oh, for Valentine's. I thought you meant in general. I was like,
No,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
no.
I feel like she does some stuff for you.
I think we have a good like non-aggression pact about card holidays. We like our,
Yeah. I think I don't know. We celebrate every day.
It's good that we do celebrate every day
Yeah.
through drinking.
Through alcoholism. Yeah.
I had a really good time with you last night. I just wanted to say that. I'd like to do it again.
Another time.
When the crazy lady was yelling at us, see, I brought it back. Skill.
Pro.
She did buy us several drinks.
She was like a nice person. I just, like I said, I get into this mode and then I'm like, oh, like something that should have been like a 10-minute like sidebar conversation becomes like 45 minutes. And then you're like,
Yeah.
I really didn't need to do this. And then like, then I get too invested because now she's become a real person to me, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad just like literally like turning my body physically and being like, don't talk to me anymore. But like
we had no choice. We were at the end of the bar, and
you
it was
were a
either
little
like
stuck.
Yeah, it was either like fully box her out, but then I was like, all right, if we're doing this, I'm like, I'm gonna get another whiskey, and she's like, put it on my tab, whatever you want. And I was like, yes. So I had 3 nice glasses of whiskey with a circular large format ice. It was real nice.
That's how you know you like booze a little too much. You called it a large format ice.
Large format ice is amazing.
And you've never worked in the restaurant industry?
No.
Yeah,
Well,
you
no,
definitely like to drink.
No, that's not true. I've worked at not 1, not 2, wait, maybe 2 delis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Nothing to do with that.
You know when you go to a deli and you ask for a large format ice.
Picking a large format sandwich. Do you mean a foot long?
Noah's got
dickhead?
the big thing of ice. He's just like shaving it on like the meat cleaver. He's like, nice.
So one thing I did.
Didn't you get fired from both those jobs?
No, I worked at an Italian
'cause he was
deli.
drunk.
I worked at an Italian deli, and I was supposed to get $10 an hour, and then when I got paid, it was like my friend's deli. I was like, wait, this is only like whatever, like $320, and he's like, oh, I can only give you $9 an hour after like a full week, and I was like, okay. And then I worked in a gourmet shop that my other friend managed, and because I like knew the manager, there were just certain things I didn't do because they were too hard. Slicing prosciutto.
Well, that's
Impossible.
like a special skill.
So hard, and then dealing with the cheese. I didn't do cheese.
You didn't do cheese.
It was a different knife. It was like cutting clay. It was like a wire. So this girl hated me because it was like, oh, I need some manchego. And I go, well, I don't do cheese.
Okay, manchego. You ever thought about oven roasted turkey?
Yeah, I was like,
easily.
how about a nice ham? Sliced real thick, baby. I mean, I remember I handed the prosciutto to this lady, and she's like, this is too thick. So I try it again, and I'm like, she's like, no. She like asked for somebody else. It's hard though.
Yeah.
You don't know how to handle a meat slicer.
Well, neither do you, apparently.
I can work at a Jersey Mike's like right now.
All right.
That type of meat I can handle.
Sure.
Your classics, your roast beefs, your
I
turkeys.
would say that when it comes to like operating any type of equipment or appliances, that would be my skill set over yours.
You are the tech person in the apartment, and you are the mechanic.
Yeah.
Really.
For sure.
Like, let me get in there. Let me get under the hood.
Like I don't like if we, God willing, get a meat slicer at some point in my kitchen next to this nightmare ice cream maker. I wouldn't like. I'm surprised you haven't broken the ice cream maker yet.
It's coming.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
I watched some Reddit or read some Reddit threads.
You watched some Reddit threads?
I'm deep in the protein ice cream community. I'm deep in there.
Yeah, we know.
And when it freezes, it makes a mound, and that's what gets the blade caught. So what I do is I take it out, let it melt, and then I use a steak knife and I slice off the mound so it's flat. So I don't think I'm going to break that
Spoken like
blade.
a true chef.
Yeah.
I hate this ice cream. I do feel like it'll be sad for you when it does eventually break in the next 2 or
Buy
3
another
weeks.
one.
No chance.
Break it by another.
No chance. It's
Unlike
the loudest
Hammer-
thing I've ever heard.
Unlike
The fact
Hammer
that it's
30
supposed to be
million
just
can't
like on
hurt
a
me.
regular
What?
kitchen is insane.
I love it. It's actually the best thing to happen in my life over the last year or so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you just had your second kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm aware.
I said at the Princeton
Kid doesn't
basketball
make ice cream. Kid
She's quieter than the machine, so
at the Princeton basketball banquet last year, I said
Wait, where?
Princeton basketball banquet, which I emceed. I said, you guys going to the Sweet 16 was the best day of my life.
no one laughed.
Including like the birth of
Noah.
my son and my wedding to my wife, and like I said some version of that joke, and nobody did laugh.
Yeah, I was there. It was
Yeah.
brutal.
that banquet was not as fun as I thought it would be. It was weird, but again, it was because the kids were like being proper. Even like the coach came up to me and he goes, "You know, the guys who are 21 like can have beers," and they were like, "All right, like, yeah, we don't trust you cops, you know, you coaches,
That's
you know."
fair. That's a fair
I'd have been like, "Oh, it's free."
We know.
do you guys have any large format Miller Lights here?
Tall boys.
I mean,
What who do you think likes drinking? Who's a better drinker between me and you?
Oh,
And
me.
Who
Me.
likes drinking more?
you.
What? Whoa, really?
I'm better at it, but
Sometimes
you like
I'm
it
like,
more.
oh, I'm not gonna have one, and you're like,
This week
What?
you forced me to go on a walk instead of enjoying a delicious glass of wine, and it was mean.
That was a weird move. Because I know I have this weekend's big, but
What's happening this weekend?
it's a trap. I'm not answering that. I don't recall.
That's just a little blanket over the missing stair.
I don't recall.
Fall into the chute.
How about the Jinx?
You know, the other day, Noah threatened to put me down the garbage chute in our building. He was like, I bet you could fit in there. I'm like,
No, I said, you're going to throw me down, is what I said. Because I was thrown out
I'm not going to, I can't fit you in there.
Got anything about the Jinx this season? And then we'll bring this thing in for a landing.
All right.
Bob! Do you watch the Jinx?
I haven't seen the new one.
The new one.
So when he calls collect in the show now,
From prison.
just like
he's like a part of it. That's hilarious.
he's like, you have a collect call from Bob. It's super funny.
Yeah, it's like you have a call from the California State of Corrections, and it's like then it's literally just him going, Bob. And it's, I don't know. The second part of the Jinx is kind of like, if you were watching the news, like it's like kind of what happens. But I think like what's interesting is that they kind of go into like his friendships and like basically how he got away with it for so many years. And it's obviously the most clear answer is money, but then there's also just like people who were
minions involved.
Yeah, people protecting him and
but that all goes back to money though.
Yeah, of course, exactly.
I don't have any friends that would do that much.
Would
to
you
protect me from a murder?
It's
unless
a lot.
I was, funding their.
This is a good question, Mike. You brought up an interesting one. Would you help me hide the body, or would you report me?
Me?
Yeah.
I'd help.
Depends who it is the right answer.
Oh, I'd help. Also, if you were giving me $200,000 in addition, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
That's all it takes to hide a body?
Well, some of these people were getting like a couple $100,000. Like it wasn't. So one of the theories that they were talking about, like Andrew Jarecki, who like made the show, is like, yes, like he's clearly paying these people, his like friends, and he's like setting them up with like jobs, and like there's definitely like money as a part of it. But he was like, but it's more than money. There's another layer to it, like psychologically, where like it's because yes, like he's clearly financially benefiting them.
I think
but
he's got some sort of cult leader ability, some sort of like in-person like charisma or something that kind of gets you under the spell. And then he goes, oh, you're a dear friend of mine, let me give you 200,000. Not too much money, just like 250, 300.
I mean, even that one guy was like trying to stonewall the prosecutors, and then they were like, well, did he ever give you any gifts? And he's like, well, I guess he did buy my wife a $50,000 Lexus. And it's like these things that
he bought her a used Lexus.
Yeah. Well, this was like in 1990 or something. But I think if you met Bob Durst, he has this kind of like, I don't get along with a lot of people type of vibe. And so then if you think you broke through that exterior, then you feel like you're like special, which is very cult leadery. Like, oh, I've been chosen to be like a part of this. And then that comes with just an unbelievable amount of money and privilege and like any like
the wife is the biggest creep, I think.
She's a mega creep, but she kind of like, you kind of hear a little bit more about that, which is like, what was this relationship? It was kind of a business relationship. It's just, I don't know. It's really interesting.
A fully paid relationship.
And when you hear about her prior career, it's very odd. Very odd. I think they were just like protecting each other. It was very weird.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I do think there's another layer to it than just money. It's like, people like even that one guy, Nick, was like, oh, I want to like, he like wanted to be a part of the New York scene. Yeah. How do you do that? You have to attach yourself to someone who's already in it. Like they're not going to just be like, sure, like take a seat. Like that. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Especially back then. Like it was like very closed off. So I feel like that part of the show is kind of interesting, but the whole thing is like very, very sad. It's not like, it's extremely depressing. I couldn't recommend it anymore. Then I've actually, this is the first time in my life. Now I'm getting old. I listened to like the companion podcast. I'm like, I've really crossed into a new world.
You click the end of the Toyota ad to find out more.
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
Pathfinder.
I'm like, ooh, more research I can listen to about something that I've already read and learned about. Cool.
You're watching branded content.
I'm like, I'm gonna make a slideshow presentation about what I've learned from HBO.
What's weird to me about watching it is that we watched it together in our first apartment, the part 1. Which seemed really not that long ago, and then it was like, what year was that? 2015. That's just weird. I'm just fully doing Tom Takar's joke where I'm like, can you believe a long time ago is a long time ago? That's crazy. But like, I do feel that.
Well, I feel like when
2012.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm
Oh.
sorry, 2015. You were right.
You son of a
2012
bitch.
is when it.
You chimed in with the wrong date.
Well, 2012 was when the
2012,
filmmakers
you're fired.
That's
when they started
started.
filming it.
Yeah.
Right,
and
right.
2015 is when it came out.
Yeah.
You want to know a fun Bravo Jinx crossover? Mm-hmm. So Mike won't appreciate this because he doesn't watch Housewives. But
Sorry.
in
Did
New
you know
York,
Noah, did you know Noah went to Princeton?
yeah, I did. I'd heard on a podcast, on a companion podcast.
We're back, baby. The show is back.
Real Housewives of New York, you know, they always go to the Regency bar. That's where like they all sleep with like that same guy or whatever. The Jinx, where he says killed them all, of course, was filmed at the Regency.
and I
Okay, so
saw-
it all comes together.
And I saw Sonia Morgan at a work dinner a week ago.
She's moving to Connecticut.
She came in and was FaceTiming and crying, and I'm like, she really is
Icon.
like that.
Icon.
Yeah.
Well, she's finally selling the townhouse,
What a relief.
and she's moving. She's moving to Connecticut, and
Boring.
she doesn't care anymore, I guess.
You got anything else for the people? Did you miss doing the show with me?
Sure.
You miss talking to me?
So my
what
plan-
have you been up to for 2 years? For a year?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
For next episode,
Okay.
I'm going to come in hot with some recurring segments,
Okay.
and we'll figure out what our companion click here to learn more podcast is going to be.
What I want to do.
That's going to be the
Yeah, but-
pending title is click here to learn more.
Let's workshop this real quick as we bring this train wreck in for like in a landing. There's a 20-minute warning. No, it's like 3 minutes. Yeah. Oh. Got to see the face. Moneymaker.
You don't have to go that high up.
I was going to say that looks way bad.
Oh, so I know I'm balding now, but my my
Should we get tattoos?
No, we're gonna do it when we're 50. We're gonna do it like when we're kind of old.
I'm old now.
No, we're doing it when we're 50.
All right.
So my coach, who's fully bald, my former coach, he saw me and he's like saw like this little thinning and a little in the back thinning, and he's like, "Yeah, time to shave it all off." I was like, "What planet are you from?"
You'll look like your poster.
Yeah, exactly. Julia Johns, shout out for the
Shout
art.
out Julia Johns.
So the companion podcast, and I want to ask a young fellow, Generation Alpha. Yeah, get back on the mic. He wants to get back on the mic.
Generation Alpha.
The live reaction as we watch. We're literally going to pause the show and go, Savage Thought.
Have you heard of
blah,
a
blah,
platform
blah, blah,
called Twitch?
blah. Yeah, should we put it on Twitch?
I mean, I'm familiar with it.
I'm just kidding.
I don't use it.
Yeah, because you're a grown up.
But rather than watch the show and then have a big conversation about it, we're going to pause the show, talk about it in real time, pause the show again, talk about it, and then in the show notes, we're going to put like, here's where we pause. Any thoughts from either of you?
That's a good idea.
Like you've ever had a good idea? Please. Yeah, yeah. You think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I'm
And then that'll be audio only and maybe behind the Patreon. Fans, sound off in the comments. Do you have any thoughts about it?
Fans, click here to learn more.
Do you want to do that?
Maybe.
Nah, you're not into it.
I feel like it might be a little hard to listen to.
Yeah, I think we should do one as
Like
an
a
experiment.
torture. Like, is the theme like?
The theme is like you're gonna want
Do
to
you want to
turn
make
this
your
off.
Do you want to make your commute feel longer?
You're gonna want to turn this off now.
What if the whole concept of the companion pod was like how to make 20 minutes seem like an eternity?
Well, our first shot at a podcast, I didn't know how to mix the audio, so it was stereo. So I was right ear, Alyssa was left ear, and the show is called Sports and Pork. And we spent like 10 minutes just saying pork. And my friend goes, "This is brutal." He texts me, he's like, "This sucks."
Because it's just one of us saying sports and the other one saying pork into different ears.
We had that idea when we were really drunk, and then we actually did it, and it was terrible.
I liked it.
What was your most embarrassing moment in comedy, your whole career? Marrying me,
Yeah, that's up there.
linking your career with mine, and then
Most embarrassing. One thing that it's like not really embarrassing, but I do still feel bad about it. I was like picking on some guy in the front row, which I really never do.
Oh boy.
And I like made some rude comment about how his wedding ring was on the wrong hand, and he was like, "Yeah, because my wife died." Oh. And I was like, well, who's ready for a big show tonight? I think I was hosting like that because I was like trying to like.
No, this segment could be
it was
called
horrible.
New segment called Yikes.
See, I drool over a moment like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely like you have to like get out of it. I wasn't just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, like I'm sure I said sorry, but I did go up to him afterwards and I was like, that I was not intending to
Let's
do that.
workshop some responses.
I don't even remember what I said. I'm sure I just blacked out.
You say what the guy said, and we'll come up with some other ways you could have gotten out of that.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, my wife died.
Oh, did she kill herself because you're so boring?
Yeah, you go in deeper.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to keep going down that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I would have been like, is that the hand you hit her with?
Dylan
Roasted.
coming in hot. You're fired, okay? You're fired.
Should I say this man was also like in his 60s? It was horrible. It was really bad.
That's
I didn't feel good about it.
terrible.
I didn't feel great.
Did she die in a fun way, or what are we talking about? Is this season 3 of the Jinx? What are
I
we
was like,
talking about?
Where'd you put the body?
I was like, was she like, oh my God, I'm so dead?
If you just were like, killed them all, of course.
Yeah. I think this was probably before that.
Yeah, for show. Faux show. Do I have any fun comedy stories?
What's most you have to answer the same question. Most embarrassing.
I think I did a comedy. Oh no, this is a good one. So I did.
That was it. I did comedy.
I did a comedy sketch. I did
Comedy sketch.
I did a cancer fundraiser show.
Ugh, embarrassing.
And
Already terrible.
for some reason, I was in my head about like I have to be clean because it's a charity show, even though nobody told me to be clean.
Sure.
I was doing like 6 minutes, and I got on stage. I haven't been on stage in a while, and the bit was like I think we're running out of superhero movies like to do. It was like Superman, Batman, like Spider-Man. Now we're going to these D-listers. It's like my friend was like, "You want to see Green Lantern?" And I was like, well, what does he even do? And my friend was like, he's green? And that was like the bit. And this woman from the back just goes, wah, wah. And current comedian now, I'd be like, I hope you get cancer and get hit by a bike. Because they were like, biking for cancer or whatever. And I should have been like, I hope you get it next. Like, I would have like killed her now. And I would have never like been in my head like I have to be clean. But I had no clean material. And I was so afraid of pissing off the person who booked me that I like focused on that instead of being funny. But I was so... And then I just lost control of the room. They all just started talking. And then Sherry Shepard from The View went up and murdered.
She's funny.
Yeah, she killed. And I was like, yeah, this sucks.
I mean,
I don't think that's a terrible bit. I mean, there needs to be like a punchline, but it's fine.
I don't think it's anything.
You don't think it's anything?
Not really.
If I was like, what's next? We're going to do this superhero, that, it's like...
Yeah, like you didn't write a joke.
I don't know what a joke is.
My friend's like, you want to see Green Lantern? And you're like, I don't know.
No.
There's no like...
I got a mansplain comedy to her. The punchline is, what's his superpower? He's green?
What's his superpower? He knows how to bomb a franchise. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Noah, save these hits for the special. What's his superpower? Green?
Oh, I am doing a special in the fall in New York, by the way.
Okay.
I wanted to tell the audience.
They don't care.
I'm recording a 30. I'm going to spend a lot of money on it, and nobody's going to watch it.
Don't spend money on it.
I'm going to spend a little money on it.
No.
Yep. It's up to you, the fans, to fund it.
Please.
Got anything else?
No, I'm trying to get out of here.
We end every show. It's hard to end a podcast.
This feels like now. This started as like a really fun hang, and now I feel like I'm a prisoner.
The marriage or just this show?
All
right. Well, guys, like, subscribe. Call to action. Like, subscribe. Share with your friends. Clips. I've become a bit of a PC comedian.
What?
You know that? I've become a PC comedian.
Instead of a Mac?
Post clips.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Not gonna lie. Pretty good.
See you later.
Anyway,
okay.
bye.
The show's over.
Love you. Bye.
That's it.
Okay, sure.
Oh, boy.